الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله يا حي يا قيوم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعليه وتراته بعدد كل من منك أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه يا حي يا قيوم. Excuse me. So, have you ever seen like something on YouTube or something where, or on the news, you get a criminal who's done some terrible crime, you know, stole tens of thousands of dollars, or, you know, one of these people that swindles the elderly out of their life savings, and suddenly they're just, you know, they've got nothing, and then the criminal, he's standing there weeping in court, weeping, saying how sorry he is, and all of these things, and he truly regrets what he's done or she has done. You know, when they're gonna be judged, they truly regret that. You know, but that judgment only lasts in this lifetime, right? And if somebody is so heinous, so terrible, that they're given a life sentence, well, that's just life, you know? That's just 40, 50, 100 years, depending on how long they live, how old they are, whatever. And that is not fun at all. I mean, to be in jail for 10 minutes would be awful, let alone 40, 50, 70, 80 years, whatever you know, our lifespan is. However, on the day of judgment, you know, and may Allah keep us from being among these people. May Allah put us among the righteous. May Allah have us practice righteous deeds. And of course, this applies most importantly to myself. What about when we're on the day of judgment? And the sentence we could be receiving if we are found not to have, you know, been forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for untold amount of time. An untold amount of time. And the punishment isn't just sitting in jail and having 3, you know, not very nice meals every day. No, the sentence is burning for an enormous, mind-bogglingly amount of time. That's the sentence, right? And, you know, there will be those in hellfire. I mean, they'll be burning no matter where in hellfire they are. They'll be burning, right? Even the deepest parts of it. Those who are in the shallower parts of it will be grateful they're not in the deepest parts of it, right? That's how terrible the hellfire is. So it is important that we understand the most basic things, you know, the most basic things, because Allah's mercy, to receive Allah's mercy, we must be doing our best to avoid sins, but especially the major sins. You know, the first one is that we must be doing our salat on time. You know, not at the last second. Not, I go to work and then I do them all at home. No. Those of us who do our salat outside of its time, the sentence is one hukab, which I am told is 80,000 years in the hellfire. Imagine for one outside, one qada, 80,000 years. That is an enormous amount of time, right? How many of us have had a filling done, right? Right? It's a filling. I'm in that chair. I'm sweating, right? I'm gripping the thing. I'm gripping it. I'm sweating, you know, and I'm waiting for the drill to hit something it's going to hurt, right? I'm waiting. But it never actually, you know, they Novocaine you up so you're not going to jump out of your pain and, you know, jump out of your chair in pain and, you know, but still, half hour in the dentist's chair, I'm sweating, right? I'm I try to calm myself, but I catch myself always, no, relax, right? But there's none of that in hellfire. I mean, it's not a half hour. That's 80,000 years for missing a single salat, right? So we must make them up. Those of us who have not done salat, right? We must be making them. They are a debt. If you borrow $1,000 from me, I'm going to want it back. And Allah has given us 5 times salat on time every day. That is a gift to us. That is mirajul mu'mineen. That is miraj, meaning meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the rest of us. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went up to paradise for his miraj. The rest of us, we have our miraj here 5 times a day, right? And it must be done. Now, there are those of us who have gone years missing it, right? And there are those of us who have gone years missing it, have done tawbah, and now they're going to be spending decades making up those salats, doing 10 a day. But if they die today, they can say, "Oh Allah, I didn't make them all up, but I did tawbah. I did tawbah. I was wrong, and I'm doing tawbah now." Because what does Allah... There's a chapter in the Quran named Tawbah. Allah loves those who do Tawbah. That's what Tawbah is. The completion of a deed, that's up to Allah. The completion of making up all those years, well, that's in Allah's hands. Our decision to make them up, that's us. That's our job. So, you know, I really don't socialize that much. I really don't... you know, whatever. But I've come to know recently the prevalence of Muslims paying interest. The shocking prevalence of Muslims paying interest. Maybe not on a house, right? But I've come to know, I've met some people recently, and they've let me know that, you know, they've bought expensive things on Amazon, and they pay it off over in 2 years, and they're just paying a little interest every month, you know, with the payment. Or they have thousands of credit card, you know, thousands on a credit card, or something like that. You know, we're not all adults here. But the fact that there's a hadith where, you know, we've all heard it before, I won't go into details, but the riba is worse than a relationship with some of our own family members. I'm not going to go in details of kids here, but we've all heard that hadith. You know, in certain relations with our parents. You know, that's what interest is like. That's what interest is like. And we must avoid it at all costs. You know, it's not just some little thing. You know, this is major. You know, this is major. You know, and we, you know, Allah will destroy us if we are not doing tawbah, if we are not seeking His forgiveness. Now, if we're in trouble right now, we're paying interest, okay, but now is the time to be like, how do I get out of it? What do I do to get out of it? You know, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we've all heard this. There's, I forget if it's my memory's so terrible. I forget if it's a hadith where a man it's a hadith. A man is walking through the desert and he has all of his supplies on his horse, right? And you know, he's very tired, so he sees some shade over somewhere, and he goes over there and he lies down and takes a nap, right? And he wakes up and his horse with his water, his food, his everything is gone. Or his camel. It's gone. And he's looking, he climbs up on the sand dunes and on the rock he was sleeping under in the shade, and he can't find it anywhere. And he's panicking and he's looking everywhere and he can't find it. He's like, where's my horse? Where's my horse? Where's my horse? Right? Where is it? And then he says, oh my God, I'm doomed. I'm just going to lie back down and just accept my fate. Right? And he falls asleep. And he wakes up a few hours later and he sees his horse. Imagine what his heart is like when he sees his horse. Imagine what his heart is like when he sees that horse. The relief. That relief is what Allah allows us to understand, what He feels when we do tawbah. That relief that man feels when he sees his horse is what Allah allows us to understand, what He feels when we do tawbah. So if we are in interest, and many of us unfortunately are, I've come to unfortunately learn this. Okay, all right, fine. We've done a sin, major sin. Allah loves those the tawabin, those who realize they've made a mistake, ask Allah's forgiveness, and then are now doing their best to get out of it. Right? That is a tawabin. Now, if you make your intention, I'm getting out of it today, or it's too much money, but I'm going to do my best. How do I get out of this? Let me start now. Let me start now and get out of this. I'm going to start today. I'm going to write a plan. I'm going to do this, whatever the situation is. And then you die of a heart attack. You have a stroke. Something. You get hit by a car. But Allah knew. Allah knows your intention. We can say, oh Allah, I did it, but I did my tawbah. I was making a plan and I had that intention to get out of it. So those who don't even have the intention to get out of it, those who aren't even asking Allah's forgiveness for doing this, for those who know they are disobeying Allah, and I am one of them, unfortunately. I am a disobedient man. So in general, all of us who know we're disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we're not making the intention to ask Allah's forgiveness, what do we deserve? What do we deserve? So Allah loves the Tawabin. So I spoke longer than I wanted to, but so here's some. This is a beautiful book. We've read it here many, many years. Major Sins by Muhammad Uthman al-Dhahabi. It's written many years, actually a couple of hundred years ago. But it reads like it was written yesterday. This is the major sin, interest, riba. Allah the Most High, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Most High says, O you who believe, do not consume interest doubled and multiplied, and be conscious of Allah in order that you may be successful. Be conscious of Allah in order that you may be successful. And this is advice for me, and all my words here today are for me, because I am in deep trouble, and I seek Allah's forgiveness because I'm in deep trouble. Those who consume interest will not stand except as one stands whom Satan has destroyed by his touch. Those who consume interest will not stand except one stands whom Satan, the shaitan, has destroyed by his touch. And this is because they say trade is like interest. So they've changed the name of interest into trade. Like, oh, I'm just paying for money. I'm just borrowing it, and that's how you pay for the money. That's what interest is. That's what interest is. And if we buy anything on these zero interest things, we have to make sure that the cash price is the same as the price that you pay at the end of the zero interest thing. I've done those zero interest credit cards, but that's it. You pay it off at that certain time, and that's it. That's done. I've suddenly been in the situation where I needed it, but it was a zero interest. Boom, done. Right at the end of the term of the zero interest part. Moving on. That is, they give arguments to make interest permissible, while Allah has prohibited it. On the day of judgment, people will rise from their graves quickly, excepting those who consume interest. Excuse me. They will stand up and then fall down like epileptics. Whenever they try to stand up, they will fall down like epileptics because they consumed interest in the world. And as a punishment, on the day of judgment, Allah will fill their stomachs with something heavy, so that due to its weight, they will not be able to stand without falling down. They will try to hasten along with the other people, but will not be able to do so. May Allah prevent us, all of us. May Allah give us all Jannah without hisab. May Allah make us all the Tawabin. May Allah put us all on the right path, especially myself, because I am in the most dire situation. Ameen. Qatada radiallahu anhu said, on the day of resurrection, the consumer of interest will be raised up insane. Others around such people will know that they consumed interest because of their insane behavior. Abu Sa'id Khudri radiallahu anhu reported Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam as saying, during my ascension, Miraj, I passed by a group of people whose stomachs were as large as houses, and they were bending down alongside a path on which the people of Pharaoh were taken morning and evening to be tormented by fire. On their return, Pharaoh's people were like beaten camels, neither listening nor sensible. When the people with large stomachs saw them coming, they tried to stand up but could not. So the people of Pharaoh trampled them, and they swayed back and forth. This will be their punishment in Barzakh, that is between their death and the last day. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, I asked Jibreel, who are these people? Jibreel alayhi salam answered, these are the people who consumed interest. They will not stand except as one stands whom Shaitan's touch has destroyed. So that is enough for today. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulin bil Kareem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ma sha'allahu la quwwata illa billah. Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa itratihi. Biyadadi kulli man minaka astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayy al-qayyum wa atubu ilayhi. Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum. Alhamdulillahi kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhihi wa azimi sultan wa ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa ala ahlihi wa ashabihi wa sallim tasliman kathira amma ba'd. فيا عباد الله اتقوا الله تعالى ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم واحذروا البدع والمحدثات فإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل بدعة ضلالة. اعلموا أن الله سبحانه وتعالى أمركم بأمر بدا فيه ونفسه فقال سبحانه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بشير النذير والسراج المنير ورد. اللهم عن الأربعة الخلفاء الراشدين أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن بقية الصحابة وعن التابعين وتابعي التابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وأن معهم بعفوك وكرمك وإحسانك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروا على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم تصنعون وأقيموا الصلاة.